guys on Cam Boozer too, because we like brushed past him, right?
Yeah.
And this is a guy. He's got NBA pedigree because of who his dad is, right? He won Peach Jam at every level: 15U, 16U, 17U. He won everything you could possibly win in the state of Florida. He's won gold medals at every level that he's played at in the youth national team ranks. Like, there's nothing that this dude has not won. And every level he's like, everywhere he's gone, it's 18 and 12, 19 and 11, like 22 and 15. Now he's starting to make some threes. He is for people that do what I do when it comes to covering college basketball. The hardest part of last season was like Cooper Flagg was probably the worst interview that anyone's ever done. Like, that dude was laser focused on basketball, only cared about basketball, cared about nothing else. And Cam Boozer is that times like 50. Okay. This dude, there's nothing that he doesn't do where he's thinking about how he's going to win the next basketball game. So why don't we consider that when it comes to these prospects, right? Like, Cam's beaten Cooper Flagg. He's beaten AJ DeBonsa. He beat them in championship games in 16U and 17U in the EYBL. How come that doesn't come into context when we are evaluating these guys? And as simple as you can see where the ceiling comes in with Darren and with AJ. And I think it's much easier to see how high the floor is with Cam, Corey, as opposed to being
Yeah.
like, well, yeah, I can picture how AJ could end up being uh, Tracy McGrady, and you could picture how Darren Peterson ends up being Donovan Mitchell. And it's like, yeah, I can totally picture Cam Boozer being like Kevin Love, and Kevin Love is not exciting for anyone.
Unless you love outlet passing. Um,
Yeah.
no, you make a great point, and Cam should legitimately be, and I think he's going to be every step of the way, a guy that we just go, hey, are we overthinking this? Should this guy be the number one pick? Is this like the modern? I'm not saying he's going to be a top 5 player of all time, but like mentality wise, like he's like Tim Duncan laser focused on, he's not like pumping his chest. He's the most dominant high school player that I've seen in person for as long as I've been doing this, since friend of the show, Jason Frazier, when he was at Amityville, absolutely murdering public school kids on a nightly basis. I saw him in a competition called The Throne, which was on top of an ice hockey rink in a mall, and they played Grayson, and I was like, this is the single most dominant high school performance I have ever seen anybody. And it was the first quarter. He was taking charges, he was blocking shots, he hit multiple threes, he was getting to the rim, he was running ball screens, he was setting ball screens, he did everything. He's just not like super like boisterous and flashy, but he's so effective every step of the way. And like, I just think that, we're not necessarily going to see him go out and try to get 30 like AJ or Darren might try to do. He's going to a loaded team, and we're going to see him play within the offense and do what it takes to win. And so it's just not going to be as flashy and as in your face, but it doesn't mean that if you're like a true sicko that it's not going to be as exciting, because he really doesn't have that many flaws. Like he's even really improving as an off the bounce shooter. Like he'll hit those. They're just, again, there's not as much like, Jamal Crawford wiggle that you see, that makes
Mhm.
it look really cool in highlight tapes. But man, he's so good. And his potential should not be discussed as like, as limited in this top group. Like there's a chance that he's, one of the best and most productive freshman prospects that we've seen in a long time, and has a better freshman season than Cooper Flagg.
Metcalf.
He just doesn't have a sexy highlight tape, unfortunately. And he has sexy numbers, he has sexy accolades, and 6'9", 250 as a freshman. Not bad, who moves like that side to side. They don't make those guys except in labs. And he's just mastered the little things. And guys his age don't do that. So it's like when you look at the defensive playmaking numbers, they're like, it's okay. But then you see him defend and you see him communicate and slide his feet and stay with point guards and rotate and not give an inch to centers in the post. And then he's just always where he needs to be before he needs to be there. He's 3 steps ahead. Like we always talk about point guards seeing where the ball needs to go and then being a pass or two ahead. Boozer's like that in every aspect of the game. He takes what the defense gives him, he makes a simple play, and he has such a sound mastery of the fundamentals and the little things like his footwork and the passing and the rebounding and his recognition of angles and how to attack rotating defenses that it might not be the flashiest crossover into a spin move into an and one dunk like AJ or Darren will do, but he'll just go and he'll grab the board and then finish through you, over you, around you, and then he'll make a skip pass and to a wide open shooter after he drew a double team or a triple team. It's just always the right decision. He just doesn't make mistakes. And while that may not be the sexiest highlight film, it produces a ton of winning basketball.
Rucker.
He's just a high IQ, high feel big with a lot of. I love how Metcalf put that, the master of the little things. Just seeing him in person at practices at IQ Hoop Summit, he get the ball in the paint with four guys around him, and it was like he was by himself. He's just so strong, has such good balance. I actually talked to a scout last week, and I was like, all right, hit me with your top three. And he immediately was foaming at the mouth about AJ and Darren Peterson. And then he just took a deep breath and he goes, but are we sure that Cam Boozer just isn't really awesome? And I was laughing, and he's like, he's a winner. He's done everything you could ask him to do, and he's just a force. I feel like Cam's going to put up good numbers, but I feel like his impact every time I watch him is beyond the numbers. Like, he just is such a smart player that makes an impact on both sides of the ball. So I think he's going to be a boring prospect because we're just all so, what if Darren is this? And what if AJ's this? And it's like, Cam Boozer's right here, and he's just awesome. So it's going to be fascinating, but he's one of the guys you're going to feel the best about because of his floor. But I also think we might need to realize that maybe he has a higher upside than we're all dreaming.